Hello folks, welcome back to the plot. Right, I've managed to get the afternoon off work, so jump down on the plot to try and catch up on some of the stuff I need to be getting on with. Now, a few months back I sown some corn, and what happened was it didn't all take. I had quite a few blanks. Now what I did, I sowed 2 corn seeds in each pot, and as you can see, some of them didn't come up. So what I managed to do was, the ones that didn't germinate, I put a second seed in, just to see how we went on, and the germination rate was better. I soaked the seeds for longer in some water to soften them up. But consequently, what it's left me with is, you got 2 corn plants here in the same pot, but you can see one is way further on than the other one, and now they're starting to just turn a little bit yellow because they're using up all of the nutrient resources inside the pot. So what I'm going to do today is, they're not quite ready to go in the ground yet. These ones probably are quite close, but the smaller ones aren't. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to split these and pot them on into their own individual pots, and give them some additional compost, so additional feed for the next couple of weeks, while these guys catch up to the bigger ones before they're ready to go in the bed. So I'll just show you very quickly how I do that. Very straightforward. So we've got 2 corn plants at different stages in the pot, and you can see how well developed the root ball is, which is more than likely going to be off the larger of the 2 plants. So what I'll do now is I'll just split them like so. So we've got 1 plant there, and what I do then is put a bit of compost in the bottom, about an inch worth of compost, drop the root ball back in, and then top up. You can see there where we've got the gap where the second plant is taken out of. I'll fill that up with more compost. So there's another few weeks feed in that now for this single plant. As you can see, second one, which is the younger of the 2 plants and much less well developed. I'll do the same with that one. A good inch of compost in the bottom. Drop the plant and the root ball in. Top it up and firm it down with some fresh compost. And then there's plenty of feed in that smaller plant. And in time, over the number of weeks, this one will catch up to that one. And then when it's a little bit bigger, when that one's about this size, I'll put it out into the plot. Now these are all done. So they're all done. I've also done some more over there, and then I've got some more here. So I'll move them out of the way. So basically it's as simple as that. All I'm doing is, where I've got 2, splitting them, putting them in their own individual pots, with some additional compost to give them some feed, and then that way they can carry on developing without inhibiting each other by being too big for the 1 pot. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to crack on with that now, and then I'll come back to you. They won't be going in the ground, but I've got loads and loads and loads of other jobs to do on the plot. As I say, this was an afternoon I didn't expect, so I'm just trying to catch up on all the little jobs that I haven't had time to do. So I'm going to get on with this now, and then I'll roll on to something else after it, and I'll bring you back and you can see what I'm doing. See you in a minute. Hello folk, I'm back. Right, just wanted to show you something. I don't know whether you can see this. In fact, I'll take it off here a second. I have bought, like many people have bought, these plant halos, which are great for your tomatoes and your plants, especially when you just want to bottom water everything, as you can see. So they work fine. Now I've only got 6 of them, and it can become an expensive business if you buy one of them for every single plant you want to put in your polytunnel. So I just wanted to show you, if I could, an alternative. I'm sorry for the wobbly camera, because I haven't really worked out what I was going to do properly yet, but here we go anyway. Very amateurish. So I hope you can see me there. I hope I've got that camera in the right position. So them plantalos, like I said, are really good when you want to bottom water. But we can't all be going out and buying these, you know, bits of kit that are specifically for what you want to do. But you can sometimes do a little thing for yourself that'll work just as well, and it'll cost you nothing. It's free. Now, last week I put my cucumbers in. I've only got 2 cucumber plants this year. Put them down this end of the polytunnel, and as you can see, it's a little bit tight there if I was going to use the plantalos. So I decided not to go with the plantalos, not purchase any more, use the 6 that I've got for my tomatoes, and but I still want to bottom water my cucumbers. So I mean, this is an old trick that lots and lots of people do. It's nothing new, it's not anything I've come up with, but it works an absolute treat. And that is just putting in an old plastic bottle, just repurposing it. Now, as you can see, what I did here, this plastic bottle, I just buried it into the soil at a bit of an angle, right down to where the roots of the cucumber plant is. So what I did was, I'll show you, I just cut off the base of a standard plastic bottle. I only want it really to drip feed. I don't want it to flood the roots. I want it to just have a constant moistness down where the roots are, constant source of some sort of moisture. So I don't want to flood it, and I don't want it to dry out. So instead of using a plantalo, I just use a bottle, cut the base off, drill a single hole in the lid. I mean, you could put 1 or 2 holes in depending on how much flow of water you want to go in at any one time. And then that plastic bottle just goes right into the soil, close to where the root ball will be, the plant. And then all you do when you want to water it, instead of using a plantalo, you just fill your bottle that you've used. I'll use this one as well. This is exactly the same. It's got a single hole drilled into the base, and what that'll do is that'll slowly release the water, but right down where the roots are, where it's required, rather than top watering and getting too much moisture in the air, which is not great for your tomatoes, because of you're attracting blight spores then, aren't you? If it's constantly damp and moist in here, that's not great for tomatoes. So around the tomato area and the cucumber area, I want to try and keep the soil quite, on the surface at least, quite dry. And that's a great way. Plantalos are fantastic, but a cheaper alternative, cheaper in it, is such that it costs you nothing, absolutely free, is to just use some plastic bottles that I'll just go into the recycler, so you can recycle it and repurpose it yourself and use it like that. So I just wanted to show you that. And my next job in here is possibly to start on my left hand side here, putting some of my chilies in. So I'll go and have a look at them, see how far on they are, and then if a couple of them are ready, I might bring them in and I'll put them in, and I'll use the same sort of method as I'm using here with my my cucumbers. What I'll use is the upturned bottles, cut the base off, drill a hole in the cap, and that'll be my watering system for the polytunnel, so it doesn't get too moist in here, which, as I said earlier, isn't great for the tomatoes. So I'm going to go and have a look in the greenhouse, see how them peppers are looking, and then I might come back in and put them in. So I'll speak to you in a minute. Hello folks, I'm back. Right, I've had a little look in the greenhouse, and some of these chilies are quite well on now. So these are the the most the most advanced of all of the peppers, the capsicums that I've got in the greenhouse. At the minute, in the polytunnel, this is the only space I've got at present because I've got a lot of salads down that end where the camera is. I'm going to eventually pick all of the salads out, use that, give it away, and the whole side of this bed hopefully will have my peppers in. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do this today. I spoke earlier about the free watering system. Instead of buying the plant halos, using plastic bottles. So I'm going to use that today also and show you. Like I've said before, take the ends off. Be careful when you're cutting them off. Use a sharp blade, but be careful. Drill a nice hole in the end cap, and I always keep the end so that when I fill it with water, I just put that back on top. So one, no bees or insects fall into the top and drown, and also clog the hole at the bottom. And also it just stops any soil or compost or muck getting into it and then clogging the hole again at the bottom. So you can water it, put the lid upside down back on. I don't know whether you can see that, and it just stops it getting full of debris. So peppers, we have Romano sweet pepper. I've got a hot chilli called a Cayenne. I've never grown them before. I've got a bell pepper rainbow mix. That's another sweet pepper. Corno de Toro mix. And then finally here we've got a bell pepper. So space them out as such, and then in between each of the stations I'm going to have my rudimentary homemade watering system. So I'll go with this one first because it's right in front of me. I love working in the polytunnel, and the reason being, I'm still a bit shy about filming. You know, somebody walks past the plot and you're chatting away and they're wondering who you're talking to, and then you see a camera. Not quite got used to doing that yet in front of people. So if I'm doing anything in the polytunnel, although they might be able to hear the voice, they can't see me. So I quite like working in here and then filming. But at the minute there's nobody on the site. There's only me in this afternoon, just me and the birds outside, which hopefully you can hear because they're singing away. So right, let's get cracking with this. So this is a bell pepper rainbow mix. You're always best just laying out your plants roughly where you want them and getting them all set out where they need to be before you go ahead and start putting them in. It just gives you a fair idea of your spacings and how it'll look. And I like things to look neat. Not everyone's like that, I get that, but I do like everything to look neat and almost symmetrical I should say, if I can make it so. So I lay it out. I've done these 5, but the watering system's in between. I've done them in like a zigzag pattern, and I'll do that all the way along this bed once I've got space down there for the rest of them. I find it just gives, especially on these, when they bush out, it should give them enough play. I mean, they're a good 18 inches apart, with space all around to be able to fill out. So enough of my chitter chatter. Let's get on with this. This used to be a flower bed here before the polytunnel went in. It was my wife's flower bed. She had all sorts in it. And when I decided I was going to put this polytunnel here, I did put a lot of my own compost on the bed, let it rot down. So these beds here should be really quite rich, hopefully. But even though they're quite rich, I'm going to do what I always do and give them a little helping hand with a little bit of compost, a little bit of board compost that I've got. So, plant some hole there. That's about right. bit of board compost, just to give them that little bit of extra boost, seeing as they've been transplanted. Let's see how these go. So just fan them in. I say hey, but it's just a phrase. Firm the plants in there. And I'll work my way through all of the others. What I will do first, before I do that, is I'll put one of the bottles in, the water system, just so you can see how I do that. As I say, that's going to sit smack bang between those two plants and right in line with this one also. Of course there will be other watering. There'll be times when I might just top water here and there if it's getting a bit too dry. But essentially, if I'm going to put any more nutrients as well as water into the soil, I prefer to put it into a system like that, because I know it's going to go into the soil, down by the root systems, rather than being sat on the top and then it may well evaporate away and then you lose the effectiveness of it. So that bottle will go there. Dig that out. And also, they don't take up any space really. They're going to sit in the gaps where there's not going to be any planting anyway. Now these ones, slightly bigger bottles than those. One, because I've got the space for it, and two, they're individual bottles that are feeding an individual plant. These bottles are going to, the water and the feed is going to be shared amongst at least three, but there'll also be other bottles here as well. So if I can have one bottle between two plants at the very, very most, I'll be quite happy with that. Right, let's see how deep that is. I don't want to go too deep. If you go too deep, yeah, there's always the risk that some of the compost and the soil might fall into it, even with your lid. Let's see what that's like. I think that's sitting out of the soil top now by about 3 inches, so that'll be perfectly fine. As I say, it's sat right between 3 plants, and between these 3 plants there'll be another bottle, and between them 3 plants there'll be another bottle. So basically I've got 3 bottles feeding 5 plants. Back from that now. And as you can see, it takes up no space at all. Even if you wanted to interplant here with some other stuff, I mean, I probably won't do that because I want to give these peppers as much space as I can. But there you go, I'll just move that plant over, you can see that there. That's my lid, turn it upside down, just sits in there, nice and neat. So that is one homemade halo and one pepper plant in the polytunnel. So I'm going to get on with the rest of these now, and I'll bring you back as soon as it's done, so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I'll crack on and I'll see you in a minute. So welcome back, guys. I've got them in now, the five pepper plants are in, the 3 watering bottles are in. What I'll do now is I'll water each of these stations and I'll lift the camera off and I'll show you how it looks. So take my lids off. And it's as simple as that. I mean, what I will do first, that's just to give you an example of how easy it is to feed and water the plants without soaking everything. But because these have actually gone into the ground now, I will soak around the base just to make sure there's no air gaps for the roots and make sure that they settle in really well. So a really good soaking at the base. And this, what I do with the water bottles, works perfectly for tomatoes if you don't have any of the manufactured. If you don't have any of the manufactured plantalos. Each of these. And I'll show you how this looks. So say, tuck that up. Tuck that up. Okay. Right. I'll show you how it looks. So hopefully you can see that. That's my first chilli plant. So as I say, I've only put 5 in for now, with 3 watering and feeding stations, and I'll just show you the ones that earlier on, the examples I gave you. If you look at that one, I don't know whether you can see, but there's probably 2/3 of the water has seeped down into the root system, and that one probably 2/3 of the water is still in the bottle. So that one is watering slightly slower than that one, but that doesn't matter. In an hour's time each of them bottles will be empty and the water will have slowly seeped into the bases of where my cucumbers are. So they're my 5 peppers in for now. As you can see, the salad's gone crazy down there, so I'll be picking all this soon. We're eating it as fast as we can, but it's just been growing so fast it's getting away with us. So I'll be lifting all of them at some point in the near future, and then the rest of this bed will be filled with some more hot peppers, sweet peppers and bell peppers. As I say, the tomatoes are doing fine in their shop bought watering systems, and I'm hoping the chilies will do fine in their homemade watering systems. So I hope you found that useful with regards to using old empty plastic bottles rather than them going to well, definitely don't send them to landfill. Rather than being recycled, recycle them yourself or repurpose them yourself and make use of them, and you last forever. So that's me done for the day. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you do, please leave a comment and I'll definitely answer it. Subscribe if you like, if you want any more of these videos, and hit the notification bell, and any that are put up will pop up and they'll let you know, and then you can watch them. So I hope that's been okay for you today. I'm going to crack on now, do with a bit more work, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.